Alright, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this one, I'm going to go over my entire split. So I did like all the little videos explaining each day, but I'm going to give a recap, an overview of the whole split. And yeah, I feel like it's been a while since I've talked to you guys. So update on my life. I just moved into a new apartment, the apartment I'm in right now, with one of my roommates that I was living with last year. So this is the place. Pretty nice. It's a little cheaper than our last place, and it also has a pool. So, and also kind of exciting. I have only about 4 or 5 months left of this bulk before I start prep again. Finally, for my next show, which is going to be sometime next year. So that's exciting. But yeah, that's basically it. Let's get into the actual video now. So I'm basically just going to do a small overview of the entire split. And the order in which I do the split, when I take my rest days and stuff like that. At the end, I'm also going to go over the small little details that I haven't discussed yet. So when I train my calves, when I train my abs, whether or not I do my cardio, stuff like that I'll talk about at the end. But yeah, and then one more thing before we get into it. I try and say this as much as possible throughout all the videos I do, but there are a lot of ways to build muscle. There's not one right way to do it. This split that I do isn't the best split. It's not the split that you have to do. I still get like so pissed, honestly, when I scroll through every social media platform. I feel like there's still just so many people that try and tell you that like this is the way, like more volume, less volume, don't do this exercise, you have to do this exercise, you don't need this, you need this. Like, it honestly pisses me off because, like, it's just not how bodybuilding works. There are so many different ways to build your split and different training styles you can use. So, just because someone says it's optimal doesn't actually mean it is. And the best way to prove that to you is that if you take every guy that went to the Olympia last year for open bodybuilding, so all of those guys, open bodybuilding, the Olympia, the best 30 guys in the world, you'd think that they would all train the same way if there's an optimal way to work out and build muscle, but that's not the case. They all definitely have some similarities in the way they work out, but there's not just one way that they all do it. They all have different training styles, different approaches. It just proves that there are so many ways to build your physique, and like I always stress, the most important thing is that you like what you're doing and it works for you. So yeah, so as long as you enjoy it, that's all that matters. You can try this split. Maybe you love it, maybe you hate it, maybe you get great gains, maybe you don't. But yeah. And then yeah, as for this split, this is just what I've been doing for about the past 2 years now since I ended my last prep. I've been doing some sort of variation of this exact split. It's worked for me. It's what I really like to do. And the biggest reason why I started making all these videos, and this one specifically, is because the #1 question I get asked in my DMs every single day, multiple times a day, is what is my training split? So it's just, to show you guys what I do, and maybe you guys can make some good gains from this as well. If you want more detail of each singular day, the playlist down below is titled the off-season playlist, and it has, I think, 7 videos total, and each video is a day from this split, so I go into more detail about it. But yeah, so the split starts off with my leg day, actually. So I start off with some warm-up exercises. I do some adductors, just warm-up sets for adductors, warm-up sets for a standing leg curl, just to get my hamstrings warmed up, my hips loose with the adductors. And then sometimes I also do a leg extension before my main movements, but my main movement is a barbell squat right now. I'm thinking about changing it up. It's going to be some type of squat variation always. So Smith machine squat, hack squat, barbell squat, whatever it may be. After that, my second main movement is going to be a leg press. And this is where I get most of my quad work for this day. And right after the leg press, I get into some leg extensions, do some fun drop sets and stuff like that. And then after my leg extensions, I do like an extreme stretch, so whether that's in the seat of the leg extension or a sissy squat variation, something like that. Do some walking lunges, and then I finish off with hamstrings, so I'll do a seated leg curl. And then I also, it's not shown here, but I do a light RDL to finish off this day. Day 2, I go right into my first chest and shoulder day. So my first chest and shoulder day is a little bit more shoulder focused, which just means that we start with shoulders on this day with my main shoulder movement. So I do rear delts first because my rear delts are kind of lacking. Either a rear delt, either the rear delt machine or a cable rear delt fly into a heavy shoulder press of some sort, dumbbell or machine. After that, I will do a Smith machine incline, a low Smith machine low incline to get some chest, and then do a little bit more chest. Afterwards, I'll find a machine that I really like to use at that given time, something that gives me a good stretch and a good contraction, and do some drop sets and stuff like that. After that, I'll finish off the chest with some high to low flies, or maybe I'll just do like a regular fly machine of some sort. And then the workout ends with some sort of lateral raise variation, so Precore or Atlantis lateral raise machine, or maybe dumbbells or cables or something like that. And that's how I finish off that day. And then after the second day, I will go into my first rest day of the split. And then right after that first rest day, I go into my first back day. So in this back day, I call it like a density day because it's more than just back, it's whole posterior chain. We work a little hamstrings, a little bit glutes, adductors as well, before we get into the back. In the original video that I showed when I started the split, I was doing adductors, really focusing on adductors more. I have now changed recently into doing 2 hamstring exercises before my big compound movement. So I start off now by doing a lying leg curl that you see there, and then after that I'll do a Nordic leg curl, which my gym has a Nordic leg curl machine, so I do one of those. And then right after that we get into my heavy hinge deadlift movement. So I'm doing RDLs in this video, but I recently just changed to XLDLs. And eventually I'll go back to conventional deadlifts. That's my favorite, but I always do some type of deadlift variation before I start all my back stuff. And then I like to start back with some type of pull down. So I'm just doing a neutral grip pull down here with the mag grip. And then I move to the hammer strength machine and do a single arm pull down, chest supported pull down there. And after doing some good lat work, move into the upper back, so a chest supported row, one of the machines that they have at Muscle Factory. And after that we go back to the lats, single arm cable row, and then to finish off the lats we will do a pull downs till failure. And then following day 3 we go into day 4, which is my arm day. So this is my most recent video that I posted. Start off the workout with preacher curls, usually single arm preacher curls. Go into some hammer curls, either dumbbell hammer curls or a rope hammer curl. And then usually just some type of machine curl or cable machine curl. And that finishes up the biceps. Into the triceps, I do a tricep straight bar push down. Into some single arm tricep extensions. Sometimes I do them single arm, sometimes I do it with both hands. Kind of depends on the day. And then after that, I will do either a skull crusher or a JM press. Lately I've been doing JM press because it feels really good. And then lastly, to finish off the triceps, I do some dips on a bench like that. And that's it for biceps and triceps. And finish off with forearms, some type of reverse wrist curl, either this machine here or with an easy bar curl on a bench. And then some type of regular wrist curl, either on a pull-down machine like this or like with an easy bar curl bar behind the back. And then after that, my next day is my second leg day. So this is just quads and glutes for this day because I do hamstrings 2 days prior, so they're already kind of fried. So it's just quads and glutes. Start off with glutes. I do a hip thrust machine, some type of hip thrust machine. They have a couple there, so I do that. Some type of kickback, either a machine kickback here, which I really like this one, or a cable kickback. And then I finally do either this reverse lunge here, or sometimes I finish off glutes with like a high leg press. So put my foot higher and do like a single leg press. And then more into the quad stuff, I start with some leg extensions, usually single leg extensions, into a heavy hack squat, and usually just a couple sets there for the hack squat. And I finish off the day with a leg press, and this leg press is like fun, but also like the worst thing ever, because I just do usually a set of like 30 reps or like 35, 40 reps, somewhere around there. And I just put on some plates and just do as many as I can. Rest, do as many as I can, rest, do as many as I can, and just keep going with the leg press. So that one's always fun. After the leg day, I will go into my second chest and shoulder day. This one's a little bit more chest focused, which just means, again, starting with chest. Do some warm-up flies on a cable pec deck machine. Do my heavy dumbbell incline press. After that, I will do a Smith machine shoulder press. And then the last thing I do for shoulders this day is just a machine, lateral raise machine. And then back into chest, I do some sort of flat chest press again, just something that I can get a good stretch and good contraction with, something that feels real good. Do some crazy drop sets and stuff, and then finish off with some cable flies on this machine here, and again, do some drop sets and some fun stuff. And that's it for that day. The final day on the split now is my full back day. So this day, instead of unlike the other one, unlike the first back day, this is just solely back, so no hamstrings and glutes and stuff like that. Starting off usually with a pull down, a single arm pull down. Next up, I do a barbell row. Try and go as heavy as I can and just push some weight or pull some weight. Then I do a low row on the cable machine. Get more lats. Some more upper back now with a straight bar pronated cable row. And then back to the lats. I step back here on the hammer strength machine and just pull down into my hip. And then we will finish off the lats by just doing a burnout with some cable pullovers here on this machine. Hit some rear delts on this pec deck machine, or sometimes I do it just with some dumbbells. Reverse flies with some dumbbells on a bench. And then lastly, I will finish off with some dumbbell shrugs or some Smith machine shrugs to get some big traps and finish off the back. And yeah, that's how the whole split goes. So legs day 1, chest and shoulders day 2, I rest, then I hit back, arms, legs, chest and shoulders, back, and then rest again. You might be wondering why I take my rest day after my second day on the split, and then I don't take another one until the last day. And that is because after my rest day, I go into back and then arms, and I kind of count that arm day as a rest day as well. Even though I'm training hard, training to failure, as you saw in my last video, it's still just so much less taxing on your whole body. If you're training, arms at 100% versus legs at 100%, like the fatigue you're going to accumulate from a leg day is so much more than an arm day, even if you go 100% on both days. So an arm day kind of just helps me rest a little bit in between the split as well. So that's kind of why I do that. And then yeah, so for calves, abs, and cardio. So yeah, first up, calves. For about the past year or so, I've trained them almost every other day. And then for a while I was training them every day except leg days. Honestly, right now I'm getting to the point where I'm just going to train them every single day, or whenever they're not sore, which even if you train calves hard, they sometimes won't be sore the next day. Kind of just depends. But yeah, and I kind of usually I'll do at least one standing vertical straight leg calf raise, a seated calf raise, and then like a horizontal calf raise as well. Usually anywhere from like 6 to 8 exercises, kind of just depending on the day. And then yeah, usually different techniques, long pauses in the stretch, higher volumes, of course, and stuff like that. As for abs, so I'm gonna be honest with you guys. For once I finished my prep for my last competition, I didn't train abs for probably like a year, which isn't good. I don't recommend that. And recently, within the past like couple months, I've started implementing ab training again. So I train them usually once a week. I usually do anywhere from like 6 to 8 sets. A few different types of exercises: a body weighted crunch, sit up, a weighted sit up or some sort, and then like a hanging leg raise as well. And then yeah, as for cardio, similar to abs, once I finished my prep, I kind of just like slowly did less and less and less cardio, which I'm trying to change. So currently what I do right now, I don't track my steps and I don't do any like Stairmaster or running or stuff like that. All I do right now is I try and walk for like 10 minutes after every meal that I have. And honestly, the reason I started it wasn't like to do more cardio, it was just to help my digestion a little bit better, just because I'm eating so much food and it's kind of just, it's hard to like eat a lot of food and just kind of sit there. So I try and my best to like walk for like 10 minutes after each meal, or if I go to the gym, I don't. But I always used to make the excuse that since I do hot yoga like 3 times a week, that I didn't need to do cardio. And I still make that excuse to this day. Which, I mean, if you ever tried hot yoga, it's fucking hard as hell. But yeah, between that and then just walking after I eat for a little bit, that's kind of like all I really do right now. I do think it really is important in terms of just heart health, overall health, and well-being. It's good to do cardio. But like physique-wise, I don't think it's like makes a huge difference. You know, the more cardio I do, the more I'm gonna have to eat, which is why I don't like doing cardio, especially right now when I'm eating a lot. But it is important. I try and walk as much as I can now. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. That was my entire split that I've done for literally the past like 2 years now. Some variation of that. I actually am though switching it up very soon. So within the next month or so, I'm going to start training with a mentor or a friend that I know that goes to my gym. And he's either a heavyweight or a super heavyweight open bodybuilder. We're gonna start training together. He's gonna be my training partner coming up soon, probably once he's done with his prep. And he's more advanced than me, a little bit older, and he's very knowledgeable. So I'm gonna let him kind of like take the ropes, and I'm gonna follow his lead for the most part. I definitely still do my own things if obviously we have different needs, and I like to do some things a certain way. So I'll definitely incorporate my own ways, but it's a good way for me to learn a little bit more and get someone else's perspective on training. So I'm gonna start training with him soon. We'll be putting out some videos together and stuff like that. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you want to help support me, continue making these videos, my clothing sponsor is YOUNGLA, my supplement sponsor is JACKEDFACTORY, and my meal prep company is FLEXPRO Meals. Code BRINKZ on all of those to save some money. But yeah, thanks for watching as always. I'll see you in the next one. Deuces.